De La Hoya tonight. 5 world titles over the last 10 years since his win over Jimmy Breedle gave him the WBO super featherweight title at 9 stone 4 10 years ago. This is his 26th world title fight. 25 of the last 28 have been for world championships. It's an incredible run. He's the biggest ticket seller around. They still call him the Golden Boy, even though he's 31 and a promoter himself these days. White trunks of De La Hoya, who's been looking in blistering form, I'm told, in the gym, throwing ferocious combinations. And he started fast here. I think he wants to make a statement in this new division.
Yeah, well, it looks as though he wants to make an early impression. So Sturm wants to keep his defences nice and tight. Use his footwork, get him out of there. Doesn't want to be trading. I know he has the natural weight advantage. You don't want to be trading. That's better. Good solid jab from Sturm.
Sturm's got a good fast jab, and he's got an excellent left uppercut as well. Watch for that if he gets into the contest, and he lands with the left hand there. They seem to have a bit of an effect on De La Hoya, who will, obviously, as he moves up the weights, he'll feel the power a little bit more of the bigger men. He's coped all the way through so far.
I tell you, Ian, De La Hoya was not putting enough thought into what he was doing for the first half minute or so here. He's just standing his ground, no defence. Look, he's not thinking about what's coming his way. He's been caught with solid jabs and a couple of left hooks, so a bit more thought. Oscar De La Hoya can't take this for granted.
I think one thing the De La Hoya camp noticed watching videos of Sturm is that when you're throwing punches, he doesn't throw back.
Well, he's throwing them now, Ian. He's doing the right thing, actually. He's standing his ground with a tight defence, moving forward every chance he gets.
A lot of us wondered whether Sturm would freeze when he got to Las Vegas, fighting against his idol on a big promotion. None of it. He seemed totally unfazed all week, enjoyed himself.
He's catching a lot of these body shots. He's catching De La Hoya again with jabs. De La Hoya far too careless. Here goes a left hook. He is not thinking what he's doing. He's trying to be fancy. He's trying to be flash. Must tighten up.
Good jabbing too from Sturm. Lots of work from De La Hoya, but Sturm has looked totally nerveless, really.
What a tremendous start for Sturm. If he lacked confidence, he'll be finding it here.
Little left hook on the inside from De La Hoya. Has to start moving his head a bit more. Gets in with the right as well. Will he have punch power as a middleweight? And watching this nervously somewhere backstage will be Bernard Hopkins, who's kept his side of the bargain by winning tonight. Now he needs De La Hoya to do the same to set up that showdown on September the 18th.
Well, De La Hoya's thrown a lot of punches, but a lot have been caught, especially the body shots. He's been taking so many jabs. Cannot believe the carelessness he's showing here. There it goes again.
Sloppy defence from De La Hoya, but he's doing a fair bit of work himself here. Good first round, and Sturm has done excellently. Left hook from De La Hoya. Sturm won't give ground, body shots as well. No sign of the German wilting. That was a pretty good start, particularly from Sturm, who made a real statement that he might make a fight out of this.
I tell you, De La Hoya is not at the stage in his career where he wants to take needless punches, and he took far too many needless punches in that first round.
Some people have questioned the wisdom of De La Hoya making this move towards a big middleweight like Hopkins and wondering if it's a bridge too far. But he's got to get this fellow out the way first. Here's round 2. It's for the WBO middleweight championship. It would be history for De La Hoya if he wins. No one has ever won world titles in 6 weight divisions. Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas the Hitman Hearns did it in 5. Sturm now is coming forward.
Well, I tell you, what he does is so simple and straightforward, Sturm. I don't see the wheels falling off. He seems to have himself under control, nothing fancy, nothing silly, just good solid boxing, and he started well in the second round here. Look how compact he is and how open Oscar De La Hoya is.
Yeah, high-held guard, Felix Sturm, so a lot of the punches of De La Hoya hitting the gloves, but I think he'll go to the body to try and bring down those gloves. Like this. That's what he's doing. He's a great thinking fighter, De La Hoya. There have been late round fade-outs in some of his recent fights, which have been a worry, which is why they've changed the training regime a bit for this one. Different locale in Florida. And also he hasn't worked so hard right up against the fight, which was something they were worrying about. But his defence is bad, isn't it?
It's non-existent. It's non-existent. And look how tight and controlled Sturm is. De La Hoya has serious problems here already. Taken far too many, and he's not a fighter who's used to taking punches. There goes another jab. He's poking and popping with his own jab. The solid stuff coming from Sturm. There it is again.
I think he wondered if he might just be able to come out and really impose himself on this guy and blow him away, but nothing of the sort has happened, and I think now De La Hoya is having to rethink.
If the attitude he's taken into the fight is the same attitude he's been taking into the gymnasium for the last couple of months, he's in serious trouble. The reflexes that are letting him down, his technique's letting him down, his defence is non-existent there, he's just eating another jab, popping with his own jab, not doing anything.
Body
Sturm
shots is
so
what De La Hoya is going for.
Sturm is so controlled.
Looks composure itself. The Germany was happy to take this for about $750,000. That's 3 times more than he normally gets paid. But I think his bigger agenda was to find himself and announce himself as a top-level fighter beyond the confines of Germany. And he might just do that.
Notice on the scales, De La Hoya kept his top on when he weighed in. This is the first time we've seen him at middleweight. How much he's carrying.
Yes, it may not be comfortable for him. It might slow him down. It might mean he's less effective. All fascinating questions. There's Hopkins watching the action backstage. I wonder what he's thinking. Don't blow it, Oscar. He's a confident young man. He comes from Leverkusen. You'll know that place from the football team Bayer Leverkusen, but trains in Hamburg with the rest of the Universum fighters. De La Hoya has to do more. He won't have known too much about this guy other than what he's seen on video. The reality of the ring, I think, has come as a bit of an awakening for him. Now, how does he adapt?
I'll tell you, I'm surprised at Sturm. I did not expect the confidence, the snap in his punches, and just the way he actually fancies the job.
Well, I thought he might fancy the job, judging by everything we've seen and heard this week from him. And I know, talking to the German television people who've been around him, they said he's absolutely right for this. And he's been in Las Vegas for 5 weeks preparing. This is better from De La Hoya, more accurate and a bit more head movement from him now.
Yeah, this is far better. He's leading off, he's initiating the attacks. He's not trying to counter. This is far better. But still total control. Still nothing fancy from Sturm. Still getting home with the punches.
And Sturm, not really known as a puncher in the middleweight division. Only 9 of his 20 wins have come inside schedule. So it would be a worry if De La Hoya started looking as if he was getting rocked by these punches, even if he is moving up and making his middleweight debut tonight.
De La Hoya still, his defences are atrocious. I've never seen him taking so many shots. There he goes again. No defence whatsoever.
Which raises the question, are his reflexes just slowing a bit after all the hard fights in his career? Are those fights catching up with him a bit? There's another good right hand from Sturm. It's not great, this, from De La Hoya so far. And again, the jab rocks back his head.
See, people have been talking about Bernard Hopkins being a little bit past his best. I honestly feel Oscar De La Hoya is the same. I don't think he's the same fire he had earlier in his career. It's tough. I mean, so much success in his career. But I tell you, he's going to have to find it tonight.
Well, he's got all these business ventures on the go now, hasn't he? And he wants to be the new Bob Arum as a promoter. It's hard to mix it up, really, and have these different goals. It's another good jab from Sturm. De La Hoya's doing a fair bit himself, mind.
But look at the difference in defences. Sturm has a fight plan. De La Hoya doesn't seem to know quite what his plan is.
He'll do well to stop this bloke, I reckon.
Well, he hasn't even put a dent in him so far.
Which would be a worry if his punches are having no impact. And this is basically a man who's completely new to this kind of level, Sturm. The name means storm, by the way, and he aims to whip up one.
Well, he's certainly done that already, and I don't see the 12 rounds being a problem because he's not been forced to work. He's working at his own pace. He's quite happy with the pace. He's solid, he's tight, and he's boxing well. But that is the best round Oscar De La Hoya has come up with, and it's about time. A better round there from De La Hoya, but still taking fat. Where are his defences here? What is going on? He's got a guy who's so tight and controlled in front of him. He has to take a leaf out of Sturm's book and tighten up his defences.
Complacency, under motivation, possibly?
I would say so. I think he expected to just walk over here and get right on top of Sturm. It's not happened. And I wonder, does he have a plan B? Because I don't know what plan A was. I didn't spot it. I haven't seen any plan or method in what De La Hoya is doing so far.
Fourth round this time. De La Hoya always looks good when he can work behind the jab and just switch the angles imperceptibly. It's not a great audition for a showdown with Hopkins so far. But that might be, give Sturm some credit here. He might be a much better operator than a lot of people gave him credit for.
Ian, give him credit. I've given him the first 2 rounds. I thought his punching was much sharper, much more brisk than De La Hoya's. His defence was better. So I'm certainly giving him credit.
But you weren't beforehand, were you? You thought it was a walkover for De La Hoya.
I did not give him a chance. I thought he would have frozen at the occasion. I thought he was good enough to give De La Hoya problems. It's beginning to look as though he's good enough to do much more than that.
Good shots again from Sturm. De La Hoya again making the ribs his particular target, trying to bring down that high-held guard of the German.
See, the one taking punches bang on target and having the head rock is De La Hoya. Any punches he's landing, Sturm is partly blocking them. He's got his hands right, he's got his chin right, he's got everything right. He's on his front foot now. More and more problems for De La Hoya.
Good body shot again there from De La Hoya. When will these start to have an effect, you wonder, on Sturm? Again, good work from him. And again, where was the defence from Oscar De La Hoya?
If you get in the gymnasium, Ian, as I say, preparing for an easy night, it's going to be a nightmare, and this is shaping up like it could be a nightmare for De La Hoya.
You think he's taking it easy in the training for this, do you?
I certainly think so. Certainly, he may have worked hard physically, but you have to get your mind right. You can't do it during a fight. You have to worry about a fight. You have to fear it beforehand. Not taking far too many shots, and still Sturm nice and tight, nice and simple. So there's no reason the wheels that should fall off what Felix Sturm is doing. Nothing fancy.
De La Hoya just looking a bit sluggish at this new weight. There's a bit of, it's not flabby exactly, but he doesn't look exactly toned around the waist in the way we've seen. He's not cut. And I wonder if that's reflecting itself a little bit here. Is this really his proper weight? Or is it just another new way of motivating himself to go for another title? That's a question, isn't it?
Well, certainly, because I don't know what's on his mind, but there again, the guy having his head knocked back with the shots is De La Hoya. For me, the better punches in this round again. That's a good one.
The left hook had an effect on the body. But for the first time he moved in with one there. De La Hoya, and he's pumped up by that. He knows he got to Sturm a bit. Sturm waves at the crowd, but not quite in such a cocky way.
He's the one landing, he's the one knocking the other fellow's head back. His head has never been knocked back until the very last burst of the round. De La Hoya with massive problems here. He's no defence, he has no plan. He's maybe more mature, more experienced behind him, but everything he's got, he's going to need it tonight.
He's just looked a bit tonight as if he thought, well, I'm at a different level from this guy and I can come out and basically do what I want and it'll work. But it never works like that, or it often doesn't work like that. As we come out now to round 5, white trunks of De La Hoya, whose body protector is riding pretty high as well. Sturm, man with an economics degree, he's bright and intelligent out of the ring as well.
Well, economics does not surprise me because he's not wasting too much here. So accurate with his shots.
De La Hoya looking to pepper him with the jab, but he'll go downstairs again. He has to, because there's no way through to the head of Sturm most of the time. You're hitting his gloves and arms. Now, can De La Hoya step it up here and show who's the boss, who's the man who's been around the top of boxing for 10 years.
Ian, his best shots are not landing cleanly in target. They've been partially blocked. But the opposite is happening with punches coming his way. Why doesn't he get his hands up in front of his face?
And he's trying to find the combination to the safe here.
That was a good body shot. That wasn't blocked, Ian. That one got right behind the elbow.
He's getting some of them underneath there, isn't he? Digging them in. That's a good little uppercut from Sturm. He likes that shot. He can switch hit a bit as well, this German. He hasn't done it a lot tonight. He's stuck to what he knows, and what he knows is quite a bit. Maybe more than De La Hoya thought.
Well, De La Hoya must find an answer to the jab. Everything comes from the jab with Sturm. Everything works off the jab. De La Hoya has to take that away from him.
Well, Sturm has made this pretty competitive, this fight up to this point. Whether he can continue to do it is another question.
We're beginning to see facial damage on De La Hoya now. Little nick on his nose.
Sturm's got good hand speed and he's well schooled. You don't win a European Amateur Championship if you're a mug. And he got to the quarterfinals of the Sydney Olympics, and it took Jermaine Taylor, the up-and-coming big talent in the middleweight pro division at the moment, to stop him in those Olympics. That's better from De La Hoya. Nice repertoire.
Now these are point-scoring punches, but damage-wise, the sting has been taken out of them because they're partially blocked. They're scoring punches, but they're not hurting punches.
Well, he said that, Sturm, in the interview we did with him. He said his punches aren't going to hurt me. He's a light middleweight coming up. I'm not worried about that.
He's actually a super lightweight coming up, Ian. He's come up all the way. It's amazing.
Ooh, that's a good shot.
I tell you, that was a corker. He knows it too.
And Sturm saluted the crowd. And you can hear here that the crowd are fascinated by this. They're wondering whether De La Hoya could come a cropper up. I think Bernard Hopkins is getting a little bit worried about this, because Sturm is way, way better than most people thought as they were summing this fight up.
De La Hoya, as you can see here, massive problems. That was the left hook. He knew that was a beauty. Waved to the crowd. There he goes. That was a beauty.
He's managing to make the rounds pretty close, Sturm, and he's certainly put a couple of them in the bank, I'd say, so far. We've had 5. That'll be a heck of a lot in this. Here's round 6. De La Hoya, who's been boxing since he was 6 years old. They sent him to the gym because his dad thought he was in danger of growing up to be a softie. That didn't happen, you'll gather.
Well, you can certainly never accuse him of that. He's got to be leading off here. He has to get this fellow on his back foot, take the jab away from him. Don't let him march forward.
Break. Go, come on. Watch that
Sturm,
shoulder.
fresh, with lots of ambition and not much to lose. Good payday, and even if he loses here, he can go back to Germany and earn well and maybe regain this WBO title, but he might do a bit more than that. His jab's very good and it's very accurate, and De La Hoya, not much head movement from him. His head's getting rocked back by a lot of them.
I think part of De La Hoya's problem is he doesn't think he should be backing off from this fellow. He's not paying him enough respect.
Yeah.
If Shane Mosley was throwing these punches, he would back off, make him miss, and start thinking what he's doing. But I think he feels this fella's a novice compared to me. I should not be backing off, and because of that, he's getting hit so often. No defence.
Yeah, he's trying to be the puncher in the fight when really he is a boxer, mostly, isn't he, De La Hoya?
Yeah, when you're being hit with punches, you have to do something about it. He's not doing anything about it.
So how does De La Hoya change this, Jim?
I think he should back off, make the fellow miss, and punish him with counters, as he's just done as I'm speaking. Let this fellow come forward, but don't stand your ground with no defence. Draw leads from him and counter him. Start using experience and skill. But I think pride is making him stand his ground, and it's not the right thing to do at this point in the fight.
And Sturm does come forward. There's no counter. There is a right uppercut from the German, who continues here to give a thoroughly good account of himself.
Look at De La Hoya's hands before he throws the jab. Look at his left hand. He's been eating jabs all night long, and look at his defence.
Well, I just think he thought he could go in there and walk through this fellow.
Well,
I think you're right, he hasn't paid him enough respect.
He hasn't, and he's not even doing it now. He should be backing off here, making the guy miss, using the ring, regrouping himself and thinking, right, what do I do about these problems? But the very first attack of the fight, he came out with his head like a charging bull, swinging body shots. No respect whatsoever.
Putting on the fight of his life here, Felix Sturm from Germany.
With De La Hoya a little bit busier now, Sturm not setting quite the same pace.
Switch hitting now, trying something a bit different, Sturm. He's cocky and confident, Sturm, but it's not misplaced confidence either.
Well, when you spoke to Mayweather about Oscar fading in fights, he didn't accept responsibility. He says, I'm here to teach him technique, not fitness. For heaven's sake, was that a cop-out or what?
It was. He said, oh, that's the conditioner's job, Floyd Mayweather. I was alarmed when I heard him say that. Jim's got it level. There's his card.
Yeah, and the fact I've got it level is because Oscar De La Hoya has clawed his way back, just for being a little bit busier, but still with massive problems. His hands are up a little bit higher. Is it not a bit time?
It's not a convincing middleweight debut so far, this, from De La Hoya. And a bit worrying, really, as an audition for a meeting with Bernard Hopkins. Because his punches aren't having much effect, and his own defence isn't good. He'll need to be a lot faster and a lot more elusive than that. I think he's lost speed moving up as well, and that's a huge worry with Hopkins in mind.
I think the main reason his punches are of no effect, they're not landing cleanly. This fella's defences are so tight, he's taken some of the sting out of almost all the punches that he takes. He's not taking full-blooded shots from De La Hoya.
That's better from De La Hoya. And he does get through to the head this time. Found an opening in Sturm's normally tight defence.
He must do a little bit more evasive boxing before he gets his punches off.
Watch your shoulder.
It's as though he feels this fella should not be able to push me back, so I'm not going back.
So this fight should tell De La Hoya, if he does get through it, I'll need to be a lot better. I have to do more if I'm going to fight Hopkins.
This is as poor as I've seen him, because I've never seen him being caught so often. We're heading towards the last minute in the round here. So who is going to take over here, and that orders for the rest of the fight? Who has the physical strength?
Well, I think this is proving quite hard for De La Hoya, up with a naturally bigger man, maybe feeling the shots a bit more than he did at the lower weights, finding his own punches don't quite have the same zing and effect on the other guy. It's the problem you face. Even Sugar Ray Robinson couldn't make it up to light heavy.
With De La Hoya managing to block some shots. Even now, look at his defence. Look where his left hand is as he moves forward.
Looks undercooked, basically, doesn't he, for this, mentally and physically. Not got his head right for it. Nice little counter from Sturm, who's got a jaunty air and looks like a man who's really enjoying himself in there. Still thought De La Hoya did a bit more, though, in that round over the 3 minutes.
I think he lost his way a little bit in the second half of that round.
Now they think De La Hoya is slowing down. Agree?
Yeah, without a doubt. And Floyd Mayweather has a big name in the fight game. He's worked with massive fighters who probably win fights on their own. He's needed tonight, but his advice to De La Hoya didn't sound too good, I'm afraid.
This is round 8. And I just wonder whether De La Hoya is spreading himself a bit thinly these days with all those business interests that he's got. Whether his focus is quite what it used to be.
See, De La Hoya can start the rounds well, but he's not able to sustain it, and that's the big problem. This is far better, but can he sustain it?
Nice combinations from De La Hoya. He's used the jab well at times, but hasn't really been able to establish it in the way that he so often does. Bob Arum, his promoter, called him the best 8-round fighter in the world the other day, which will be news to people like Vargas and Corte, who he had thunderous finishes against.
Certainly not to get one of Oscar's biggest compliments, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he has been guilty in recent years of getting himself in, getting the job done, and then coming off the pedal, coasting. And he lost to Felix Trinidad because of those tactics, but he won't be able to do that tonight because every round is competitive.
Yeah, better not fade late in this one. Great performance this from Sturm, who's announced himself tonight as a major operator in this middleweight division.
See, De La Hoya is his most successful when he leads off because he cannot control this fellow's jab. It's given massive problems, so you've got to take the jab away, get your own jab, 2 and 3, don't throw single punches, but take that jab away by throwing little bursts of 3 punches. That works for him, but he's not doing it often enough.
And he's having trouble with the hand speed of Sturm here and there. I think he's outworking him at the moment in this round. It's a good little burst from Sturm, though.
So far, things are going well for De La Hoya in this round. But as I've said so often, such big problems he has.
But is the gold turning to rust?
Well, I really do not believe he's properly motivated for this fight. We all thought it was going to be easy, and I think he's thought the same.
It's the tender trap, isn't it? Underestimating the opposition. Probably saw him as some unknown, probably never heard of him before they arranged the fight.
Well, this is good stuff. This is the first time really he has dominated. Sturm clutching up close, which he hasn't been doing earlier. Is he beginning to feel the pace now?
Bit less work from Sturm. De La Hoya's found it hard to subdue his spirit at any point in the contest.
It was a little to keep up the pressure. But be careful, keep your hands up. We only have 4 rounds left.
Still nothing profound coming from Mr. Mayweather, I'm afraid.
No, very quiet corner, isn't it? It's not exactly super motivation time in there, is it? You wonder if the whole build-up's been a bit like that, don't you? Sleepy.
Yeah, I think so. There's something missing, and it's showing itself tonight. But I still have it dead level. The last 2 rounds are scored at around a piece.
I've got De La Hoya ahead by a couple, but I'd agree with you, it's nothing convincing from him. It's the 9th.
Well, I was impressed by Sturm in the first couple of rounds, although punches landed were fairly level. His were better for me.
Our American colleagues at HBO agree with you, Jim. They've got it level.
De La Hoya must take that jab away, and that's how you do it. You get the punches off first, and you throw them in 3s, then back off out of there. Don't feel that you're the boss, you're the man, you have to stand your ground. That's what's wrong with him for me. He has too much pride to back off.
This is good from Sturm again, driving De La Hoya back. Against Hopkins, he has to be the boxer, doesn't he? He has to win the fight on speed and angles.
Yeah, but against Hopkins, he would feel that there's nothing wrong with backing off. But against Sturm, I think he thinks this guy's a novice. He's not in my league. He should not be pushing me back when that's what he should be doing, landing his shots and getting out of there before he takes the counters.
Yeah, he wants to put on a spectacular, wants to stand with him. But he's had to reassess here. And he's had a bit of a reality check. Sturm doing more in this round. De La Hoya quiet.
Every time he allows Sturm to lead with that jab, he's got no answer to it. You've got to get him back, got to push him back. Maybe he just doesn't have the steam to do it. Maybe he knows what he should be doing and he can't do it.
I repeat, the most worrying thing for me here from De La Hoya is this move up to middleweight has cost him speed, and he can't afford to lose speed.
Well, I really feel it's his attitude. From the first attack he made in the first round, I thought he does not think this guy's too bob, he's paying no respect, so there's no way he's in the right kind of shape.
Tries to go with the body, but again, good defence from Sturm, who hugs his elbows against the wrist and comes back with an authoritative use of the jab. Twice, 3 times, and he's helped by the speed of that punch too. Is De La Hoya running out of ideas here?
See, I really feel he hasn't come into this fight with a real plan. So he's now stuck with what he started with.
So he attempted the combinations there and then stood back with his arms down, leaving himself open.
Exactly, he's making so many basic mistakes. His defence has been deplorable from round 1. Eating them up here.
Sturm round this one for me. Well, the question arises, is this German going to upset the script? Is he going to scupper the blockbuster?
Try and make yourself move. You gotta try to make yourself move. And when you make it, drop the right hand and keep trying to look over the grab this shot here, you know.
He looks troubled in that corner, to me, De La Hoya.
3 times I gotta do
Yeah, well, I think he's in shock. I think that we did not expect this, and I'm sure he expected it even less. This is a struggle.
What about the rapport between trainer and boxer as well in there tonight? It hasn't looked the happiest, has it, somehow?
Yeah, well, at a time when he needs a bit of help, I don't think De La Hoya's got it tonight.
Here's the 10th round. Can De La Hoya wipe out the rest of the performance with a big finish here? This has become hard work for him. And this is a close fight on the cards as well. It's not impossible that he could lose this.
It's another situation where he started the round well, but he's never been able to sustain it.
Break! Break clean. Let's go, break clean.
Sturm's looks strong. Very competent as well. This is a guy who only won the championship, the WBO championship, at late notice on a split decision against an Argentine. And his defense wasn't that great either against the Spaniard Ruben Veron. So he's moved up here 2 or 3 levels. He's been helped by the fact that this has not been the real De La Hoya, not the De La Hoya we know, an incredibly sloppy De La Hoya, as we saw again there.
Sturm, he's in shape, he's mentally attuned, he's given everything he has to get this job done properly, and he's doing a wonderful job so far.
Not much coming from De La Hoya at the moment.
Break!
Are we watching the dying of the light a little bit here of one of the great champions of the modern era? Or is it just that he's not got himself really in gear at all for this fight, either before it or on the night?
And I think, again, credit to Sturm, he is far better than anybody expected.
Yeah. That is beyond dispute.
Break it up, guys, come on.
Well, that was a good shot, but Sturm's taken it and just marched through it.
De La Hoya will be worried that his punches have not really had too much impact on the German, save one in the middle round, which did seem to get through to Sturm. But the German here is marauding forward here, beginning to believe the impossible dream.
Well, De La Hoya is certainly showing loads of grit here. He's standing his ground, but this is not really what he wants to be doing. Still eating that jab.
As he's had to all night long, Jim.
he had the play, he had to take that jab away. The only way to do it was to get his punches off first, but he's never been able to sustain that.
This is an alarming performance from the Golden Boy. This is not what he had in mind at all. I think he thought he was going to go out tonight and say, here I am in the middleweight division, this is what I do. Thought he might blow Sturm away, hasn't happened.
Yet, as you can see, Oscar with serious problems here, 2 rounds behind. I wonder, I know it's very close, it's not the kind of fight I would argue with the judges as long as it's not a political decision with a stupid score. But I think Sturm has been wonderful tonight. He's been tight, he's been defensive, he's been coming forward, his jab has been excellent. His tactics have been spot on.
There's an eerie atmosphere around the MGM Grand as well here. That feeling you get when people are looking at a possible shock in the making. The feeling we all had the night Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson as a 42-1 outsider. Is something like that going to happen here? Have we got another boxing sensation coming up? A little bit of a low blow, yeah, from De La Hoya.
Well, I thought De La Hoya's face in between rounds told a story as well. He knows he is in big trouble tonight.
He had a haunted look about him, didn't he? Another left hook. De La Hoya here tries to lift it. Volley of punches. Now can he get to Sturm? Listen to the crowd. De La Hoya's the man they bought the tickets for. He's driven back by that body punch from Sturm and just gulped for air for a moment after that one went in.
Well, that was the heart of the exchange, and Sturm coming out on top. He's the one still wanting to fire.
And going southpaw as well for a while here to try to bemuse De La Hoya further. Rams home 2 more left hands. Well, how are the judges going to sort this out? Of course, they're fully aware too of the big setup and the possible fight with Hopkins. Will Sturm get it? Even if he deserves to get it, if you see what I mean. That has to be a question, doesn't it?
That's what I meant when I said a political decision. I mean, I gave Sturm the first couple of rounds as possible. The judges didn't, so maybe they still have De La Hoya in this. But for me, he has serious problems here.
And he's tiring and looks a bit as if he's gulping for air at times. His mouth hanging open. Sturm, young, fresh. He's been so focused for this and he's really produced the performance of his life.
And again, as all the way through, De La Hoya's taken the full-blooded shots, clearly on target. Sturm still controlled with a decent defence and decent technique.
He's got a haunted look about him. De La Hoya at the moment, and he's eating these left hands now from Sturm, who's outboxing him. De La Hoya is in serious risk here of a sensational defeat.
I think Sturm turning to southpaw is just the last thing that Oscar needed at this stage with everything else going wrong.
He just looks so much stronger and fresher, doesn't he, the German?
As I say, everything he done has been right. He's come in with a plan, he's got himself mentally and physically in shape. He's done the job properly, and as far as I'm concerned, should reap the rewards. I'm really looking forward to the scorecards here.
De La Hoya's gone quiet. He's had a strange look about him in the corner. Just doesn't look comfortable at this weight. And now lateral movement from Sturm, who's thinking his way through it and won that round clearly. Won that round clearly. And is looking like the likely winner of the fight. I don't know what the judges' scorecards say. We might have another Vegas controversy.
Now, there's no question in my mind. Sturm has produced the quality work all the way through. De La Hoya, he doesn't have a plan, he had no defence, everything he does is wrong. His power has not troubled Sturm in the slightest. I have him 3 points behind with 1 round to go.
I've got it narrower than that, but Sturm ahead now.
Let him come, let him give all he has, and then you counter right away. This is the last round. You almost have him. 1 round.
They're so calm in that corner, Michael Ting and the team, aren't they?
No, but there's nothing wrong with everything he does is right. You don't want to change him. He's doing everything so competently and so well.
Round to go. Another question arises here. Even if De La Hoya did get this decision, if it's going to be a decision, would he regard this as a satisfactory tune-up for a fight with Bernard Hopkins, or would he feel he had to have another fight at the weight?
I think he might look upon this as a retirement fight.
Well, maybe even that.
I cannot believe the amount of clean punches De La Hoya has taken in the 11 rounds we've watched. Oh, another uppercut.
Yeah, great shot, right uppercut from Sturm. But back comes De La Hoya with a good straight right, and again, got right through Sturm with that. Sturm comes back again, but here's De La Hoya now, trying to stage a last round spectacular. This is absolutely fascinating now. Good, solid punches again from Sturm. De La Hoya might be hoping that the judges do him a favour here.
See, I think every big attack from De La Hoya takes so much out of him. He has to backtrack, then he starts eating the jab again. The control all the way through from Sturm, he's never been able to break him down.
Good accuracy, and just looking at the two fighters' faces, you can almost see who's been getting the better of the argument most of the way. What a performance this is from Felix Sturm. He chose the name Felix when he changed his name because he thought it had a bit of a magic quality about it, and Sturm, as I was telling you, because it means storm. He'll certainly create a storm in the boxing world if he beats De La Hoya. This could be one of the biggest sensations of all if Sturm gets a decision. De La Hoya's doing a bit more maybe in the last round here. Great combinations. Turns back the clock a little bit, De La Hoya there. Crowd on their feet all around the arena, 13,000 of them.
Well, whether he wins this or loses, you have to pay full respect for the way he's responded. Wonderful performance from both.
His knees backward from a left hook there, De La Hoya from Sturm. It's turned into a thriller, this. Nobody thought we were going to see anything like this tonight. They thought Sturm might do quite well as the naturally bigger man. Nobody dreamt of this. This wasn't in the script. Good jabs, he waves to the crowd, Sturm. He's conducting the orchestra as he goes southpaw again and fires home the jab. He's been a box of tricks. De La Hoya's never really been able to solve it.
Well, the first couple of minutes, De La Hoya was in top here, but once again, he cannot sustain it. And as far as I'm concerned, the Hopkins-De La Hoya fight is a thing of the past.
Could be out of the window here. It could be. It could be even if De La Hoya does win, and that would be a big stink, I think. Sturm dances his way to the final bell, and have we just seen a huge upset, even bigger than Roy Jones getting knocked out by Antonio Tarver. Look at Bernard Hopkins. He can't believe it. If the judges agree with Jim Watt, Sturm has won the fight.
So my final scoring is 115 to 113, Felix Sturm. I think he deserves it. I think he did everything right. His defence was good, his offence was good. Everything was good, everything that he did. His tactics were perfect, great condition, his mind was right. Everything that De La Hoya lacked tonight.
I think he won the last 4 rounds in the end, Sturm. I think he went and nicked that last round even.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we go to the scorecards. All 3 judges, Mike Liena, Dave Moretti, and Paul Smith scored the bout 115 to 113 for the winner by unanimous decision and new WBO middleweight champion of the world, the pride of East LA, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
And that will be one of the biggest stinks in boxing, even by Las Vegas standards. That looks like a tailor-made decision to set up De La Hoya.